know what being straight or heterosexual was when I was 8 years old, but I did know at 8, whenever I looked at a particular album cover that was in our house, specifically the back of the album cover, I felt a certain way. Here's the album cover. Yes, it's the Bay City Rollers, Give Me a Break, I Was 9. It was specifically the guy on the left who was pulling down the zipper of his jumpsuit, and I was just like, "Sir, I beg your finest pardon." It was a natural curiosity, and it kept me looking at that album and listening to that album over and over again. My uncle didn't know what being gay or homosexuality was when he was little, but he remembers a time where he went into the movies and he saw this scene. He too remembers a moment where he saw that scene and it stirred something within him where he was like, "I want to live in the woods with men." And author Alison Bechdel talks about a time when she was 9 or 10 years old in a diner with her father, and in walks a butch lesbian with men's clothes and a short haircut. And she said, "I had never seen a woman like that before, and it felt so familiar and brought me such joy." The overwhelming consensus among scientists, psychologists, medical professionals is that sexual orientation is something you are born with, not something that you learn. There have been scientific studies examining genetics and prenatal conditions like hormonal fluctuations in utero. And after all of that, they found no credible evidence that parenting styles or environmental influences can make someone be gay. Even the American Psychological Association and the World Health Organization say that sexual orientation is not a choice and cannot be changed through therapy or external influences. Being LGBTQ is not something that is taught. It is a variation of the human experience. And notice I said the word taught, because that brings me to my next point. Whenever I make a video saying that I'm a teacher and I support LGBTQ plus people, I will inevitably get some comments. You know what they are. Let me just say it. I'll get some comments that say, "I am turning kids gay." All right, let's talk about this logically for a second. First, I'm straight. Second, I wouldn't know how to make somebody a part of the LGBTQ plus community. If there was a training, I missed it. Third, I wouldn't want to make somebody a part of that community because their lives do get more difficult. And fourth, if I could convince kids of anything, it would be to pay attention for longer than 3 seconds. Now, I know some of you are poised right in the comment section with your one finger getting ready to go and tell me how wrong I am. But I would say before you do that, pause and ask yourself how somebody else in the world living their life as a member of the LGBTQ plus community has affected your life. Think about that long and hard. How has their life affected your life? And the other thing I want you to think about is, who told you to be scared of gay people, trans people, lesbians? Who was that? Who told you? Somebody told you? Okay, yeah. Why would they tell you that? What would be their ultimate goal in making you fear and hate an entire demographic of people? How would they benefit from that? Give it a good long think. This is not new. We had the lavender scare of the 1950s. We had Save Our Children with Anita Bryant in the late 70s. We had the moral panic of the 80s and 90s. We even now have things like Don't Say Gay Bill, Florida. So this keeps circling back. Yet in all this time, how have members of the LGBTQ plus community affected your life? June is Pride Month, and it's a great time for you to maybe dispel some of the misconceptions that you have of the LGBTQ plus community. Maybe you are afraid that cultural norms that you have held onto so dear are going to be changed by this very small demographic of our population. Why do you think that way? Examine some of those fears that you have, and I think you'll find that they are unfounded. So just because in a historical context or in the context of literature, a teacher acknowledges that there is a gay person or a gay character does not mean that your child, poofter, is going to become gay. That's not how this works. If your child comes out after hearing about a gay character or reading about a gay person in history, I have to tell you, your child was always gay. Happy Pride Month!